Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So I just finished reading A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sara Maas. This is technically book 4 in her series, although I've seen it labeled as book 3.1. As you can tell, it's like really small compared to the other books in the series that I've reviewed. So let's get right into my review. Obviously, the big difference is that it's considerably smaller. It feels and reads more like a novella and less like an actual book in the series. It does not have a plot line, really, like the other books do, and it's not as dramatic or high stakes as the other other 3 books that I've read. It does follow the events after A Court of Wings and Ruin, which was my last review, so I'll put that up on the screen as a card, maybe if I remember. And so, a couple things, and again, this is not going to have any spoilers, but this does read, one, like, kind of just like dealing with the aftermath of the last book, and it also, 2, reads like a holiday special. And to me, it feels kind of like, you know how if people decide they want to write fan fiction, and so they'll take something like one of their favorite fandoms, like Star Wars, for example, and they like, let's write the Star Wars characters celebrating Christmas, and we'll just throw that in there. That's kind of how it read to me, was like a holiday special, and a fan fiction just kind of written like the author wrote it just for fun, as kind of like a, let's just give this, like, let's just give this kind of a Christmas. It makes sense and fits within the story world. So canonly, it makes sense. It's a winter solstice, but all of the traditions that they do are Christmassy themed to me. And so it felt like she just wanted to write all of the characters being happy, celebrating Christmas, their version of it, is what it felt like to me. And so there was no plot really. It does set up what I think are going to be some plot things in the next book. But it is considerably less high stakes, and it is considerably duller, and not as exciting, as the other books. The other difference is that, all of the 3 books so far have been written from, in first person from Feyre's perspective. So for those of you who don't know, first person is I, me, I did this, I did that, they talked to me, that sort of thing. Whereas this one is from Feyre's perspective in first person still, but we get other people's perspectives too. Rhysand is one of them, and that is still written in first person. But then we also get Morgan's perspective and Cassian, and both of them are written in third person. So he did this, she did this, they spoke to her, they spoke to him. That's third person, which is really odd. So as an author, my standpoint is that it was a little weird. As a reader, it didn't bother me, but as an author, you're told that you pick a style and you stick with it through the series. If you start off writing in first person, you don't switch to third person in a book. In a series, that's okay. Like if you start off writing in first person in a couple of books at the beginning, there toward the end, you can switch to third person. I did that in the Valiant series. But in a book, you stick with like either first or third person. You don't switch back and forth. And typically in a series that you start off and stay with one character, you don't add in more perspectives. Maybe occasionally you'll add in 1 or 2, and then you'll keep them in third person. But it's just kind of an unspoken rule thing that you just be consistent. And so from an author standpoint on my side, that's a little weird for me. But as a reader, it didn't bother me. And in fact, I really loved getting Rhysand's perspective, and I really loved getting Cassian's perspective. To me, the only reason why I was able to get through this book and why it wasn't completely boring is because of Rhysand and Cassian. They were dealing with drama at the Illyrian camps, and so that like intrigued me enough to keep reading. And getting to like get their perspective on things, getting in their headspace, that was also really nice. Setting up some drama for Cassian's story. I'm not going to spoil anything. That I really, really loved that. And then Rhysand also, we got just more insight into his character more than just through Feyre's eyes. So I liked that. Sorry that the air conditioner popped up, so it may screw up the audio a little bit. But we also got closure on something that I have been wanting closure on since book 1. So there is this conflict with a character named Tamlin, and I'm not going to avoid spoilers, but I did want closure on the Tamlin situation due to how it ends up in book 2, and especially the way things turn out in book 3. And I've been back and forth on his character, and my final opinion on his character after reading the closure situation in this one is that I like him, I feel sorry for him, I pity him, and I want him to be redeemed, and I hope that he gets a happy ending. That is my final take on Tamlin's character. And I can do some future videos if you guys want me to like give you my reasons and like get a little bit more specific and spoilery. I'm okay with that. I could do a character breakdown for the series. If you guys want me to do those videos, let me know in the comments below if you guys would be interested. Or if you want me to do a character breakdown from an author's perspective too, I could do that. So that was probably my favorite part of this book, was the situations with Tamlin. There were 2 scenes in particular, and it brought about closure, and I loved it, and the way it was handled was really good, and the fact that it was the perspective it was told from was also perfect, and I absolutely loved it. And I felt so bad. Like, I have never felt bad for like this bad for a character before until this book. So I'm hoping that it opens doors and leads to more redemption, and that's all I'm gonna say. So it is very short. There are multiple perspectives. I did find a few of them boring. The story kind of drags sometimes because they're just, a lot of it is they're celebrating what is the winter solstice, which, like I said, is basically Christmas, just in a fae kind of fantasy realm. So they're out shopping, they're buying presents, they're trying to figure out what to get each other. There's one scene where they have to visit the night court, which is a brief thing that didn't last. The drama with the Illyrians was the big thing. There is several spicy scenes and spicy themed material, because recent perspective, a couple of his perspectives, he thinks about that more often than Feyre. So that was something I didn't like. There is a very, very spicy scene that I would say is the worst spicy scene of the series so far in this book toward the end. I did not like it. I hated it. I hate all of spicy stuff, but I skipped over it. And then it did also set up a new relationship plotline that may or may not be a thing. So that was kind of interesting. It's hard for me to determine what to rate this, because it doesn't feel like part of the normal series. It doesn't feel like a novel. It reads like a novella. It reads like a holiday special that she would have given away to her newsletter for free or on her website for free. It does not feel like a book 4. And so for me, it has some really, really good parts to it. But I'm honestly leaning, like, in terms of how much I enjoyed it as a whole, I would say this is like a 3-star for me. But there were a couple of things that I really, really loved. The 2 scenes with Tamlin, I loved all of Cassian's scenes, but there was one in particular that it was wrenching. I really enjoyed most of Rhysand's scenes when he wasn't his head in the clouds a little bit. So like 4 scenes out of the whole book for me were enjoyable, and that makes me want to dock it up a star, like prop it up a star and give it 4 stars. But to be honest, like, it just doesn't feel like normal. And for me, it wasn't the multiple perspectives, because I personally enjoyed getting to, like, if this was only written from Feyre's perspective, dealing with the winter solstice and the aftermath from the last book, I would not have gotten through this book. I'm going to be honest. So Rhysand and Cassian's perspective literally was what got me through it. So it's just the fact that it was so short, and the fact that there was no real plot line. It was literally just them celebrating the winter solstice, which is super boring. Like, I get that we're supposed to have happy moments, but for me, it's like you throw those in the middle of a book with a bigger plot line. Like, before they have to go deal with a villain or have a battle, give them like a celebration and a holiday and let them have this moment together and all these character development things, and then move on. But that's pretty much what I have to say. I have not actually, because the other books that I've reviewed in this series, I wrote my review and posted it on Amazon, BookBub, and Goodreads first and then filmed, and that's still right after I finished reading, which I just did. But this time I'm recording myself first and then going to write my review and give my official star review. So I don't know what I'm going to give it yet. I'm going to write it and see what feels right when I post it. I will post it here somewhere on the screen, so you guys kind of know what my star rating ended up be. I'm leaning toward 3 stars. I'm between 3 and 4 stars for me. It doesn't feel like the series because it was just not an exciting plot at all. I am so hoping that A Court of Silver Flames, which is the 5th book, makes up for that. So that's my review for A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sara J. Maas, book 4 in her Court of Thorns and Roses series. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, including book reviews and writer reacts videos. And if you'd like to see my review for the other books in this series, including A Court of Thorns and Roses, which was the book that started it all and actually got me into reading again and book reviewing and got me addicted to the series, click here on the screen because you don't want to miss it. That book was super exciting, it was addicting, it was thrilling, and it honestly just got me so into reading a book series again, and it honestly has changed me. And so I highly suggest you guys check that out, and I will see you guys for the next video.